Jim from Sky.
Hi there.
Hi there, how you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Just before we get into it, I'm just going to ask your reaction on the breaking news of the day, which is that Thomas Tuchel has been relieved of his duty at Chelsea. Are you surprised by that?
Yeah, very surprised, and also disappointed, because I want the managers to stay in their job. It's a difficult job, but I think we all also understand that it probably comes to us all at some time. So disappointed for Thomas, and very, very experienced manager, and once again I don't think that Thomas will be able to work too long if he chooses not to be.
And on to tomorrow. Any team news? We saw Lucas Scamacca back training. Is he ready to start tomorrow?
Well, he's only really started training, so I'm going to try and work towards him getting back if we can. We hope we can get him back, but he's really not been well for 10 days. So if he's fully fit, I'd be very surprised. But certainly he's trained today, and he's getting closer to fitness.
And European football back after an incredible campaign last time in the Europa League. How excited are you to take this club to the European tournament?
It's brilliant for us. It really is, and I even sense all the players want to play. They know that you worked hard all last season to try and qualify for Europe, so they all want to be involved. They all want to play, and I think that's a great thing.
And many people, including the bookies, are kind of putting West Ham as one of, if not the favourites. Do you think that you have the squad to go all the way?
Well, I think that's it. Your last bit to the question then is difficult to assess really at the moment. I think the bigger thing is it's always easy at this time in the competitions. We thought that last year in the Europa League until a lot of the teams get knocked down from the Champions League, and then you find out what comes in. So we'll have the same situation when the teams are dropping down from the Europa League. So it's difficult at this stage, but I think it's only when those teams start to drop down do you see it.
So what do you make of the group, and are you sort of earmarking the home fixtures as being particularly important in progressing in this competition?
No, I'm not earmarking any particular game as the most important. I'm earmarking them as all as something which we want to try and win, whether it be home or away. We have to try and do that. So we start tomorrow night. We're looking forward to it. I think in football in terms, many people will remember the name sort of Steaua Bucharest. I know it's FCSB now, but I understand that people will remember that name greatly. We've got Anderlecht in the group, which will be remembered by many people as well. So I've got to say we've got a group with some history in it over a few years.
And just the last one for me, I just got to ask about Saturday. How have the players sort of responded to the disappointing and very controversial loss to Chelsea?
Well, you move on and you go again. It's like anything else, We ultimately we didn't win the game, and we have to move on, and we take a lot of positives from the game, and these things happen in football.
Can you tell us what you know about the players from FCSB today? Did someone impress you after?
Well, obviously we've watched a lot of games. We've tried to get to know the players as well as we can, and we've started to get a better idea and understanding of FCSB, and I think we understand. We know they've probably had a difficult start in the league, but overall, you finished second last year in your league, and not so a bit difficult, a bit like us. We're a bit the same. We finished very strongly last year, but not started the league quite so well. So we've recognised one or two players that we'll need to deal with, but I'm not going to tell you who that is.
They are very optimistic because they heard you're going to use players that are not usually in the first 11 or some young players.
We'll use our squad of players, but if you look at how we worked last year, we tended to sort of have maybe half of the players playing who's been in and around the team. But this year could be different. We might go and approach it differently. But overall, last year worked very well for us.
West Ham doesn't have very good memories against Romanian teams.
Neither do I. Neither do I. I managed Everton, I think, in Romania, and we lost there. So it can happen, but time also moves on as well, so you don't think back, you try and look forward.
The Romanian fans are really angry. If someone can explain to us why they can buy tickets anywhere else in the stadium only with British passport. Only 3,000 tickets for the Romanian fans, and
That's probably a question for the club, I would say, away from here.
But are you expecting a full stadium?
Well, have you been to London Stadium before? Have you?
I think many on the streets.
Yeah, have you been? Have you been?
At Sports la Stadion London?
No. No, what I'm saying is, we've had unbelievable support at the London Stadium. No, for a lot of the games in Europe last year, we had full houses for them all because it's such big nights for West Ham. But also, UEFA set the guidelines about how many tickets and where your tickets are, as far as I know. And I couldn't tell you. I don't deal with the tickets. But but I'm doing my best to make it sound as if I do. But I don't deal with the tickets, I have to say.
But fans consider this competition not so important as the championship.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Okay.
Because many don't know FCSB is
No.
here.
By the way, I have to say is last season we had an unbelievable year where we travelled. We went to Croatia, we were in Germany, we were in Spain. So I understand supporters all around the world want to follow their team and they want to go to the games in the country. So and I think coming to London would be a great experience for many of the Romanian supporters. So I really hope they can get tickets to the game. It would be good if they can, because last season we had some fabulous atmospheres inside the stadium, and I have to say we're looking forward to going to Stour as well and see that as well.
Okay. Jamie, BBC.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. David, last season it was very, very special, this competition. Obviously the club went very deep in it. Will it be as important, will it be as special this season, do you feel?
I think so. I think the group stages are never the bit that make you sort of go, yeah, it's great, you're looking forward to the games, but I think everybody's hoping that you qualify, and then when it comes to the sort of knockout games, I think they became the more exciting ones last season. But we enjoyed our experience last year, the start of getting through the group stage. I mean, we won in this time last year, we won in Dinamo Zagreb and away from home, and then we came back and we had really good victories and we won the group. Sorry, I was just answering a question here. Sorry. I think that the group stages are always a little bit to get through, but I think we've done a really good job last year in winning the group, and we'll try and do so again. And it's great, isn't it, for the fans, because you mentioned about some of those special nights. You're really starting to make, aren't you, London Stadium? Not that it wasn't last season, but I think each and every game you play there, it becomes more sort of special, doesn't it, to supporters? I think so, but I also think that each and every year you get back in European football of some sort, I think is really important, and that's why I think that we really celebrated sort of a year and a half or 2 years ago when we got into the Europa League. We had a real good go at it last year, and we celebrated this year as well, because we saw, even being in the Conference League, we only missed out on the last day of the season in the second half of a game where we would have been in the Europa League. So we pushed really hard. We've ended up in the conference, and we want to have a go at that. We want to see, I watched the final last year with Roma and Feyenoord, and I thought it was an excellent game. And I think if you look at Jose Mourinho, who's won all the competitions, what Jose Mourinho considered, how big he felt it. So I would love to be in a position where I could try and attempt to win it, but lots of games to go before you can talk like that. With the demands of the Premier League, can you afford to place great significance on this competition? Have you got the squad to do that? It's a good question. And I think maybe some games, yes, we'll be able to really concentrate on it, but other games I feel as if we won't be able to concentrate on it. So from that point of view, then a lot of that will depend on my league position, how I'm going in the league as well. So I'll need to take those things into consideration. One final point, I mean, obviously you haven't seen all of your new players gel yet, but just how pleased are you with the business that you've done? I've been really pleased with the business we've done. I think that we've added some really good players, but that has to show yet, and nobody could say yes or nobody could say no at the moment, because you've got to give them, as you rightly said, that time to gel, that time to settle in. But I think on paper, I've got to say, I think they look good signings, a lot of them, young, up and coming, hungry players who I'm hoping to develop and continue to improve. Thank you.
David, no VAR at this stage of the competition. Is that a relief after last time?
Not really. I think VAR in the main is done lots of good things. Find it difficult why we couldn't have it in our game, because if it's in UEFA, then I don't see why it shouldn't be in our game. I didn't know that was the case actually.
Just going back to Thomas Tuchel as well, I know every time a manager gets sacked, particularly this early, we always talk about a surprise, but is it particularly damning when we've just seen him get the backing that he has from the new owners in terms of the transfer market, and even that doesn't seem like it's enough to protect a manager for long?
No, I think that clubs, are in that way. There'll be reasons. I mean, look, I don't know the ins and outs of Chelsea, so I'm the wrong person to ask about Chelsea Football Club. All I can tell you is that Thomas Tuchel, just over a year ago was world champion. Was that right? World champion. Was it just maybe a year and a half ago they were European champions? We've been competing in a lot of the cup finals recently as well. That's my memory. So I have to say that I think that he's left some stamp and some mark. I think maybe all the turmoil and the change at Chelsea has just meant it's caught up on the manager's position as well. Possibly, the amount of different players they're having to bring in and change.
And you mentioned the kind of difference between the Conference League and the Europa League prestige levels. Is that something that your players have been kind of open to, or have you kind of had to convince them that this is just as big, just as important?
For us, this is huge. If you'd said that we've been in the Champions League and all those competitions and we were finding our way down it, I would say we might think different. No, I see this as 2 years in European football. I don't think West Ham have done it back to back for I don't know how long. So for our point of view, we see it as part of the growth. I'd like to be in the Champions League. And let's be fair, for long periods last season we were competing for the Champions League spots.
Jordan?
Yeah. Maxwell Cornet came on and scored against Chelsea. Obviously, it wasn't given, but he's come off a bench a lot this season. He could start. I don't know. Is he starting to show you that he can be a starter?
Well, I don't think he was in great condition on his arrival. I don't think he was quite right. And when you think of the miss he had at Viborg as well, he had a great chance to score, get it started there. But no, I've definitely started to see him beginning to flourish and beginning to get used to us and us get used to him, just what we're talking about. So there's signs of him getting better and looking as if that he can score a goal and make a goal. So we're hoping that we get the benefit of that in the coming months.
And just in terms of Lucas Paqueta, I think one thing that stood out for us, having not seen much of him, is how physical he is. We knew he was good on the ball, but he's actually a physical guy.
He tackled and he worked really hard for the team, and I think that sometimes I think the players who come from South America are quite tough physically as well, and obviously his background and where he's come from has shown that you have to stand up, you have to be strong enough and tough enough. So yeah, that was a really good sign. We saw that because the Premier League, you need to have a bit of that in you as well in the Premier League.
And that means you can rely on him to play in Europe as well and Premier League and not have to worry about him picking up and knocking.
No, he looks quite a robust guy. I mean, I think if you look at his playing record over his years, I think he's played 40 plus games just about in the last 3-4 years wherever he's been. So his playing record is pretty good as far as injury goes. Yeah.
And just finally, Finn Downs, should we expect to see him? Obviously, he's had quite tough starts.
He missed out with a poisoned toe in the last game in Viborg. So I'm looking at Flynn with a chance, thinking there could be an opportunity to get Flynn a game and see how he does and give him a start. So we'll look at that closely. We've not completely got everything set, but he's certainly in my thoughts.
David, in terms of teammates, how's Craig Dawson and Ben Thompson?
Craig Dawson's started back training. You probably saw him today. He's back out. He's not been out training long. He's still sort of finding his way back in, but he's getting back in amongst it now. Ben Johnston is not training yet. He's still out. Aaron Creswell's not training yet either, so he's not available. Thomas Tuchel had picked up a foot injury from the game the game against Chelsea. So Thomas could be a question mark for me. So that's what I've got at the moment.
In terms of Nate McGuinn, is he still a long-term absentee?
Who's that? Yeah. He returned back on Tuesday. He's been away. He's now out his boot. He's fine. He's actually seen the specialist today to get these 6 weeks go ahead today for the next part of it. So hopefully that's all good. He looks good at the moment. I've got to say he's come back and sort of ready to go.
In terms of players who are fit and available, Boylan's having a slow start this season. I think it's 1 goal and 7 appearances. He also had a slow start last season as well. I was wondering, was there anything to him in terms of...
No, I actually thought last year he started quite well. He came back in super condition last year, and I think that actually helped him. And I know maybe it didn't show his goals, but I think he came back in physical, a brilliant condition. So, yeah, a little bit slow in the goal scoring. You know, he's been a little bit unlucky in 1 or 2 other things. You know, but hopefully he's getting much closer to where he was.
And last of me, David, have a look at West Ham's fixtures. Including the loss to Chelsea, it's 5 games this month and 9 games in October. It's a bit concerned about the number of games you have coming up.
Well, I was concerned about the last week, really. You know, if you look at last week where we were, you know, our Chelsea game was put on the Saturday, you know, and it could have been on the Sunday, but because Chelsea had the game on Tuesday, we couldn't do it. So there was lots of those situations for me, which were, you know, we can't really, you know, there's no point in complaining anymore. There's no point in even mentioning it. It's just a case of getting the game. So we'd played Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So it became, if you look at our programme at the moment, it's so difficult, and that's why, you know, we need the squad. That's why we need the players, and that's why we need all those players fit, because of the amount of games we've got. And it doesn't get any easier as we go on. You know, it's not the programme easy at all. So it was interesting that I think FCSB got their game called off for this game. Was that right?
They did, especially for this game.
There you go. So we have to keep squeezing the games in here.
Able to start
probably not. He's probably not fit enough, and I mean he's probably missed the best part of 6 weeks of pre-season, really, with the thigh strain. So he's making his way back, and you know, we would like to get him back quickly if we can, but I don't know if I can get him back that quickly.
Is he okay after he wants to go? Move Finland? Family reasons?
Yeah, he has to be. It's, you know, if you're under contract at a football club, that's part of your job. You know, you have to get yourself ready to play again.
Over the fixture, you just mentioned the fixture congestion. Do you think anything could have been done to help you in the same way as the Romanians?
No, I don't think so. I think in this country we go on, we play the games, we put them out. But the only thing I do think is, you know, you'd have hoped that maybe they've looked at. You know, we've got another one. I think we've got one coming up where at the moment we're due to play Bournemouth on the Monday night. So we've been put to the Monday night fixture, and we play on the Thursday as well, and the Sunday. So, you know, thinking that way, you would say, I mean, and it's a long way away. So I'm just talking about it just now. We see that as completely unfair. Why would we be asked to play Monday night, Thursday night, and Sunday? Just like this week we've been asked to play Sunday, Wednesday and Saturday, and the Thursday, if you put it in that way as well. So I don't know what that is. It was 4 games in 9 days or something. So it's, you know, it's the way it is. And I think that last week was really tough, and I think the effort the players put in against Chelsea and right to the end and nearly getting something from the game was a great effort after the way the week had gone.
Okay, leave it there.
See you later. Thank you. Bye.